You are listening to Radio Long Island City, recorded at our studios near Hell Gate, 9 kilometers north of the Harbor Hill Moraine. And now, the Observatory. The Observatory, Thursday the 11th of June, 2026. It is 83 days after the spring equinox. It is 10 days before the summer solstice. In today's episode, fireflies, the Franklin stove, horse-drawn carriages, students for a democratic society, Jacques Cousteau, and Gene Wilder. The sun rises today at 5:24 a.m. Solar noon takes place today at 12:55 p.m. The sun sets today at 8:27 p.m., civil twilight ends at 9 p.m., and nautical twilight ends at 9:43 p.m. The length of daytime today is 37 seconds longer than yesterday. The moon is in its waning crescent phase and is 17% full at midday. The moon rises today at 2:20 a.m., and then it sets at 4:41 p.m. These are the predicted tides today for Horns Hook. In the wee hours, low tide, 1:11 a.m., 12 centimeters. In the morning, high tide, 7:23 a.m., 1 meter 40. In the afternoon, low tide, 1:19 p.m., 15 centimeters. In the evening, high tide, 7:48 p.m., 1 meter 77. In our shared realm of plants and animals, the fireflies have arrived. At dusk in gardens and parks you should see them rising like little tiny lamps out of the lawns. If you know how to spot them, you will see them out in the daytime as well. Of course, they don't glow when the sun is out, but they have an endearing lack of fear, so they fly slowly by and may even land on you unexpectedly. Harmless, lovely, tame, and a beautiful sight lighting up the backyard. Commemorations. On this day in 1742, Benjamin Franklin completed his invention of the Franklin stove. The closed cast-iron box had a baffle to channel a flow of air into the wood-burning stove. A flue at the back directed smoke neatly up the chimney. It used less fuel than a traditional open fireplace. It didn't spit embers. It didn't belch smoke into the room, and it radiated heat much more efficiently. As we have noted before, Franklin never patented his inventions, allowing others to use his ideas and improve freely upon them. David Rittenhouse would later introduce his own version that made the stove even more efficient and practical. On this day in 1862, horse-drawn, hansom cabs were introduced to Central Park. From the park's opening, wealthy visitors drove their own fancy horse-drawn carriages on the curving roads that were a key part of the park's design. The new hansom cabs allowed the less wealthy to hire a ride and enjoy the park from the comfort of a carriage. The horse-drawn cabs can still be seen along Central Park South, waiting for fares. But in recent years there have been growing calls for the practice to end. We ask if this is a case of animal cruelty, or if we are so far from the days when horses drew plows and pulled carts and wagons that the general public is unfamiliar with working horses. On this day in 1962, the Students for a Democratic Society, or SDS, held its founding convention in Michigan. They issued the Port Huron Statement, a manifesto that called for opening up the universities to new ideas and new means of governance. It marked one beginning of the massive social changes that would characterize the 1960s. Today we remember Jacques Cousteau, born this day in 1910. He was one of the inventors of the aqualung, the first practical self-contained scuba device. His invention allowed divers to explore the ocean's depths, swimming freely, unencumbered by heavy diving suits and hoses. And his missions aboard the ship Calypso became a television staple on his program, The Undersea World of Jacques Cousteau. We also remember Gene Wilder, born this day in 1933. With Zero Mostel, he starred in the 1967 film The Producers, where he played the neurotic accountant, Leo Bloom. And he was wonderful in Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein. Or should we say, Frankenstein. Remember Gene Wilder today. In our preparations for July 4th, we offer this thought from Theodore Roosevelt. He wrote, "Americanism is a question of principle, of idealism, of character. It is not a matter of birthplace or creed or line of descent." Now it has to be said that the corollary to that open and welcoming description of our country is Roosevelt's belief that there should not be what he called hyphenated Americans. New citizens, he felt, should break all ties with the lands of their birth. By contrast, Mayor David Dinkins said this in 1990, "I see New York as a gorgeous mosaic of race and religious faith, of national origin and sexual orientation, of individuals whose families arrived yesterday and generations ago." All of which demonstrates democracy is a conversation, an ongoing debate. The World Cup begins today with the first two games of the group stage. Korea plays the Czech Republic in Guadalajara, and Mexico faces South Africa in Mexico City at the Estadio Azteca. This year's World Cup is jointed hostly by Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. Unfortunately, what should be a celebration of amity and unity in North America has been spoiled by the President's threats to annex Canada and invade Mexico. But here in Queens, this most cosmopolitan of boroughs, we will celebrate what Pele called the beautiful game with a spirit of goodwill and joy. And that is the Observatory, Wednesday the 11th of June, 2026.